In 1986, I joined the Army, and I was given rank immediately. I was a PFC, a private first class. That's an E3. I took an eye exam for the Army, hoping that I could be an air traffic controller or a helicopter pilot. They said I failed the eye exam, but I think that was contrived. Instead, they said I could be a 19 kilo. That's the MOS, or Military Occupational Specialty, M1 tank crewman. My drill sergeant didn't want me to succeed. They said that if I did graduate basic training somehow, they would quit the Army. They said that I was retarded. They would hold formations. They'd kind of put me in the center of that formation, and then they'd ridicule me, and they'd say, "Are you retarded?" And I'd laugh and laugh. I thought that was the funniest thing. God. Anyway, I was in the Army for less than 180 days, and I got an uncharacterized separation. The Army said that I could not adapt socially or emotionally to military life.
We have a failure to communicate here! I do not think you are a peckerhead! Ask anyone!
After the Army, I immediately enrolled in classes at the State University of New York at Binghamton, and there was a girl named Alicia Arian, and she has brown eyes and curly dark hair. She's very attractive and funny and friendly. She laughs easily. She has a lovely smile. She's actually written a book. I think it's called Bound by Love. The first chapter of the book is a short story that introduces a character based on myself. She writes a story about a girl who goes to school at a state university and has an affair with a professor, and meanwhile she's pursued also by an awkward college kid who doesn't realize how awkward and insignificant he is.
Fred, when I met you, I was waiting outside the class, and you were walking up, introducing yourself to this row of people, right?
Right, it's like a forum.
Yeah.
A big audience.
Yeah. And
I said, "Hi, I'm Fred, who are you?"
You said, "Hi, I'm Fred," to 50 people, and I knew I was going to eventually be next, and I was terrified. I knew
Why?
Because you were weird and you were harassing everyone. You came up and you said, "Hi, I'm Fred, what's your name?" And I ended up telling you. And before I met you, when you were harassing the professor and asking all those questions in the class that were stupid, I didn't like you because you were interrupting the class. But then when I met you and I liked you, I thought the questions were funny. And then my friend Judy and I thought that there was something wrong with Fred and we should get rid of him. So we pushed Fred out of the car and he landed in dog dew. But we didn't know that till we drove around for a while and felt guilty and then went back to get him. And he got back in the car and he smelled like dog crap and we pushed him out again. And then that night, Fred's sister Susan was returning from a year abroad in France. And his parents had gone to the airport to pick her up. And they happened to be driving home on the highway late at night with Susan. And they saw Fred covered in dog crap stumbling home. And they were able to pick him up and yell at him in the car. Right, Freddie? I think one time I demanded his lunch money, but we didn't even go for lunch because we had a fight. And I just kept the money. It was like $5. You want it back?
Can I hug you instead?
No, I already let you hug me.
Okay.
You want $5? You're always in need of money.
Okay. Ultimately, I earned enough college credits so that I could have a bachelor's degree. I graduated from my four-year college in 1989, and then I moved to Boston. I would go to Cambridge, where they had Catch a Rising Star. And there in Boston, I would see comedians like David Cross and Janine Garofalo, Louis C.K., and they do stand-up comedy. And I told them, "Hey, I'm a comedian." And they said, "Fine, we'll put you on the waiting list. You can go up in 3 months." And so for 3 months, I would return there, and they'd say, oh, you're the comedian.
Louis C.K. was about to go on at Capital City Comedy Club, and Fred came running up to him and said, "You're Louis C.K." And he said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "I saw you in Boston. I used to see you all the time in Boston. You were very, very funny. Do you remember me?" And Louis C.K. was kind of looking at me, and there's a couple other people around like, okay, is this guy pulling my leg or what? It was just kind of funny that Fred expected Louis C.K.'s memory of him to be every bit as vivid as Fred's memory of Louis C.K. was.
And I got to perform there just once. It was like 1:30 in the morning. And my dad got a transfer to come to Austin, Texas. My dad said the biggest raise he ever got was when he moved from New York to Austin.
One of the positive things about moving to Texas, I believe his comedy really started when he moved down to Texas. That was partly because living in upstate New York is not really a fun place. We lived in a part in upstate New York where the guy invented Twilight Zone. It was like living in the Twilight Zone up there sometimes.
I think that people there were kind of humorless and mean-spirited.
It was very sort of closed-minded. this is the way we dress and this is the way we act. And Freddie, you're outside the box, so, you're going to get in trouble. Where coming down to Austin, Texas, it's okay, you're outside the box. Well, okay, that's kind of entertaining.
Tell me about the first time you went to the Velveeta room.
There was an old Velveeta room on 6th Street where now there is a Blind Pig pub. I think I was like a big, sweaty, filthy mess, and I was real happy to be there. I think I saw Carry On perform on stage. I think I saw Bill Hicks as well.
If he stayed in New York, I don't think he wouldn't have become a comedian. I think coming to Austin was a big part of that.
Every morning you've got to wake up, turn on the fan, open a window, vent the gases. Hi everybody, oh shit. Damn, it's over. Can I wrap it up? Oh no. Well. There was a science fair project, and I won at the science fair. It was all about methane. I hadn't really prepared, it was just I like to eat egg salad. Thank you.
I think Fred's got a pretty good deal living in his $1 million mansion with his parents, actually. All he has to do is mow the yard. Why would he want to do comedy?
I don't see somebody who's living off the largesse of his parents and doesn't even have the motivation to get out and get a job. I don't see somebody like that being motivated enough to become a professional working comic. I mean, there's just not that much work out there anymore.
Fred found out that his parents wanted him want him to move out. He's not very happy about that. He's hysterical. He thinks his mom is turning the air conditioner up just so he'll be miserable up in his room, so that he'll get out of the house. It's hilarious. His dad apparently took him to go look at apartments, and he's just horrified. He thinks that people should not live that close together, and there's a bad energy that comes from it, and people are just living in cages like rats. And he's talking about an apartment complex that's perfectly fine. He said he went to visit an apartment, and apparently it was freshly painted, and he could smell the toxins and the paint. Finally, I just had to tell him to quit whining about it. I mean, the man is over 40 years old, and his parents are paying for him to get his own apartment. I mean, he's in a situation that any 18-year-old would love to be in, to have a place of his own away from his parents. And he's going kicking and screaming. He's not happy about this one little bit.
I live in a quiet apartment. I used to live in a spacious home. It's like a locker. I mean, it's very functional. It's kind of Spartan. I wish it were more spacious. I wish I had great open spaces around me. Instead, I'm kind of crowded together in a, I don't know.
Well, why did you move there?
I have no alternative. Society has made certain that I can't prosper anywhere. That I couldn't have a career in the military. I couldn't have a career at the post office. I couldn't have a career at the IRS. I guess I wanted to be a tour guide at an inner space cavern, but they wouldn't advance me, and they kind of just kicked me out. And I was a security guard, but that really wasn't very enriching. It would be nice if I could have money to afford privacy, I suppose.
What do you think you can do about that?
I'm at the mercy of society, I guess. It would be nice to be able to work regularly as a comedian, I suppose. And I guess I do entertain a lot, but I really don't get much money. Or any, well. Well, I've felt sometimes that maybe society has inhibited or retarded me, and that I've never had a...
Blame it on society. Blame it on society.
Yeah. So I think there's a grain of truth to what you described. I feel as though my children were never conceived. My wife was never allowed to meet me. That in some they were eliminated or destroyed by society. Thank you.
Anyway, I'm gonna go home and kill myself. Yeah, you made me feel like a complete ass. That's awesome.
There's certain, paranoid tendencies right there that you just outlined about, maybe looking outside of himself for reasons why he doesn't have, a wife or a successful career, and as in like a job, a traditional job or what have you, or people are out to get him. That's kind of paranoia, absolutely.
Fred Bottle is a comedian who's known around Austin. He's energetic and funny. Often he's kind of optimistic.
Fred, what do you want people to know about you from this movie?
That, like, I try to be, pleasant and polite and funny and encouraging, and I guess I'd like to be among people who are supportive and friendly and polite and encouraging.
We're in San Antonio, Texas, and we're going to the Alamo! Yeah!
One day I hope to play at the River Center Comedy Club. I think I'll have a lot of fun, and I'll talk about the Alamo in Texas. I don't know if I'll ever play here as a professional. I've only worked once as a professional, I suppose. I'd like to be a working comedian. It's yet to happen, I suppose.